Hello and welcome to Upcycle Craft Club with the Warren County Library System. My name is Sandy Roberts and I'm the Makerspace coordinator with the Warren County Library System. Today we have a really fun holiday craft that you can adapt to pretty much anything using some scraps that you have around the home. We're going to be making upcycled ribbon ornaments. And these are so easy to make. Kids can make them, and I've got a couple different variations. If you're anything like me, this time of year, you probably have lots of ribbon laying around, scraps that you can't really use for much, maybe left over from scrapbooking projects or gift giving. So we're going to put all those scraps to good use and make something new and interesting out of them. So here's one little sample for today. This is just some ribbon that we had sitting around the makerspace that wasn't being used, was left over from some project. It's a stick that I actually collected from outside, a little ribbon to make a holder. We just tied on our ribbon to make a Christmas tree shape, a little paper star for the top, and you've got a really fun, easy ornament that's inexpensive and it'll look great on the tree. And just about any ribbon will work for this. I would suggest if you have a sturdy woven ribbon or cotton ribbon, those work really, really nicely. They keep their shape nicely. This one I had to, I have to tweak a little bit to get it to stay where I want, but it certainly is sparkly and pretty and will look really nice on my Christmas tree. So let's talk about what you need for supplies. Obviously, you're going to need some ribbon. And I've got, you can see, pretty beat up, just some craft ribbon. Any kind of ribbon will work. You probably don't want to use that more almost plastic kind of ribbon, but you probably can get that to work. You're just going to have to be kind of careful with the knots so you don't end up with creases. You're going to need something to tie your ribbon to. So as I said, I literally just got some little sticks from outside. They work. If you have popsicle sticks around, they will work. Also, you can use cinnamon sticks. Very easy to find this time of year. You can often buy them in bulk. Those work really nicely for this craft and add a nice scent to your project as well. You do want to have a pair of scissors handy. I actually have a good pair of Fisker scissors handy for cutting my ribbon. And then you're going to want a little glue because I have found that it helps to tack the ribbons to your ornament at the end. Plus, you're going to need it to attach your hanger. So you can either use craft glue or I've got my hot glue gun warmed up and ready to go as well. Really depends on the age of the person making the craft, because this is a great one for kids to make, especially on a snowy day like today. You might want to have on hand a ruler. It's really up to you. I'm going to show you, you can pre-measure your ribbon. I just kind of eyeballed it and then trimmed them at the end, and that worked fine for me. So it's up to you how precise you want to be, okay? So that's basically it. Really easy, inexpensive supplies. You don't need to worry too much about finding anything that matches, okay? Any kind of ribbons that just kind of generally go together. You can use up all those little bits of scrap. I'm using one color, but you certainly do not have to do that. All right, I'm gonna switch on over to my document camera and show you what we're gonna do. Okay, so this really could not be any easier. I'm gonna grab my scissors, got my ribbon, and I've got my various sticks. So it's really up to you how wide a stick you wanna use. I used for this one that kind of tapered. I like it looking rustic, so I wasn't worried about it being really straight or anything like that. I like the fact that it doesn't look perfect. You may prefer something that's a little more straight. So, do some digging, do some looking around. A great way to send the kids outside if they're getting a little antsy being inside on a cold day, or if they just need to get off the screen for a bit. I'm just going to go ahead and break off a piece of my branch like that. And then, as I said, you can, measure each of your pieces. If you wanted to use your ruler, you can measure, say, I started on the bottom, probably about 5 inches. And then trimmed. So you could do like 5 inches, 4.5, 4 1/4, or something, 4 inches, and kind of tier them that way. Especially because I tend to work with kids, I'm just gonna wing it. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. So all you're gonna do is take your ribbon, put your branch down, leave a little bit for your trunk, and then I like to do a little square knot, so I do left over right and tie that down. You want to get it as tight as you can. I am not, some people are really good with like bows and knots and things. I'm not particularly good at that. So if you are ready for this craft. This is going to be easy for you. I have to work at it a little bit, and that's okay. This is great if you're working with kids to get them really developing those fine motor skills, and they love to do it. It's fun. So there we go. You just tie a nice knot on. Now, if you want, again, if you're trying to get it to just kind of sit, like because of the ribbon I'm using, I've got that sparkle that I want to make sure is facing outward. So you could just put a little glue in there. Watch your fingers, of course, and kind of use that to make sure that it stays where you want it. Sort of. It's not gonna for me, of course. And just tighten it down. And then you're just gonna continue like that. Like I said, you're gonna get smaller and smaller pieces as you go up. If that is too intense for you, do them all the same length and just trim them at the end. That works just fine. You do not have to overthink this at all. But it is helpful if you have ribbon scraps of different sizes. You're going to want to plan for your longer scraps to be on your bottom and your shorter scraps to be towards the top. If you decide to do a tree, and I'm going to show you, you do not have to do a tree. There are lots of other shapes you could do. You could do this and trim it into a circular shape and make kind of a Christmas ball. You could, if say you celebrate Hanukkah, you could do this in more of a rectangular or square dreidel shape. It's pretty forgiving. You know, you can really kind of play with it, find what works for you. And you can see I accidentally made that piece a little longer than the first one. Not the end of the world. Now I'm just going to do a couple for you because I don't think you need to necessarily sit here and watch me tie ribbon on a stick. I think you probably get the idea. But I do want to give you an example of how we trim it at the end. So I'm trying to make sure that my sparkles are facing outwards and that my knots are as neat as I can make them. Which, for me, like I said, is not very neat. Now, for this, obviously, you're not going to want a particularly wide ribbon unless you want to scale this whole thing up. If you've got some leftover wide, like wire ribbon, and you want to get like a larger branch and scale up your tree, that would be really pretty to do. See, I didn't do a very good job on that knot right there. So that's one of the ones that I'm going to come in, get my hot glue, fix it with hot glue. Hot glue solves so many problems. Hot glue and duct tape, right? So a little hot glue, let that sit for a second, pull it into the position you want. Ooh, that one's going to be real difficult for me. Come on. So you just kind of work with it as you go. And again, kids, they're not going to be as nervous about it. I think as adults, we tend to overthink a little bit. Yeah, that one just doesn't want to sit. I think I didn't tie very well. It is surprisingly challenging, by the way, to tie and talk and try to talk to a camera all at the same time. I bet a lot of you who are teachers, probably plenty of you who are working on Zoom every day, you know how that goes. You know the art of trying to be present on camera and do more than a single thing, right? Trying to take notes maybe while you're on camera. Oh, I got myself with the hot glue. Not easy. We're all learning new skills right now. Okay, doing the last one. I'm just going to do 4. Normally I would do more. And you can adjust how close together you want them to be, how far apart, you know, just kind of play with it. So this tree is a pretty bare tree, I will admit. But again, I'm just demonstrating the idea because you're going to go and you're going to make this your own. Because I do tend to take a very big maker attitude towards these sorts of things where I'll give you an idea. I want to help you build a skill, perhaps. But then I really want you to go and make it uniquely yours. Okay, so now I've kind of got my ribbons in place. And all I'm going to do is take my scissors and just trim, trim, trim to create that triangular shape. Okay, this one didn't work out as great, but that's okay. And I'm just going to trim, trim, trim on the other side. And again, little kids may need a little help with that. Okay, so this one, you can see if you take your time and make something a little more full, but you get the basic idea. And then you just find yourself a star. or some other trinket that you can put on top, and a little bit of ribbon glued to the back as a hanger. And that's all it really takes to make this, this craft. It's really simple. But let me show you some variations. Say you don't have any ribbon around. Well, pipe cleaners work really nicely as well. So on this one, you can see I took green pipe cleaners and I just wrapped them, used a little glue to hold them all in place. I put some pony beads on as little decorations and some buttons on the top to make a star. So easy peasy. That one you don't have to get out. You don't even have to glue these. So if you've got young kids, the pipe cleaner pony bead option is a great way to go. And then the same thing, a little bit of ribbon on top, glued onto the back so I can hang it. Now, as I mentioned, you don't have to do trees. Here I made a little Santa's hat. So I used red pipe cleaners, and you could use red ribbon, for example. I just didn't happen to have any. To make that same triangular shape, a little white on the bottom, and I just stuck a cotton ball on top. That's it, just a little cotton ball. You could probably take a cotton ball and stretch it and like glue it down here if you wanted to make it really fluffy. But that's a really fun, I didn't even bother gluing this one. You could put a strip of glue there. And again, this one I used a popsicle stick, okay, instead of a regular stick because that's what I had on hand. And this, very easy. You have one person with the glue at the end. This is very easy to do with like white glue to stick on a pom-pom. And having the kids actually pull apart a pom-pom and stick it on, that's a lot of fun. It's very tactile. And it makes a nice fluffy, kind of happy Santa's hat. Now, this is an idea if you're working with younger kids who maybe don't have the dexterity. All I did here was, where did I put it? Where did I put my ribbon? Oh, here we go. So I just traced the ribbon onto felt and cut out the circle. And then I just cut strips from the circle. And I tried to make sure that the two pieces I did were the same. So the same circle, and I cut across the same widths, okay? And then I just reassembled them into stripes and glued them onto some popsicle sticks. This is something you could do with paper, you could do it with craft foam, you could do it with felt, you could do it with any kind of material like that. And it's great for kids to practice their patterns. It's great for them to reassemble a shape, you know, so that they can kind of, it's a little bit of a puzzle. This is a fun one to give the pieces as a gift and let somebody assemble their own ornament. And then all I did was glue on the back, stick it down, a couple of sequins, and we're good to go. So these are really easy too. And it's again, that same idea of just using whatever scraps. I literally had like just enough to get a circle out of the felt for these. But I was able to get two and just kind of play with it. So this could be really fun for kids that maybe can't do the tying or aren't ready to wrap. So if you've got kids that can do that kind of tying, a lot of kids can. It's a great way to practice if they need it. It looks really pretty and rustic, and just about any ribbon works. If you've got pipe cleaners on hand, really fun to use pony beads and decorate your creations. You certainly don't have to do trees. You can use the same technique to do lots of different shapes. And of course, if you've got younger kids, and just go with the glue option that you don't have to tie or wrap, okay? So those are some easy upcycled ornaments that you can make with stuff you probably have sitting around the house. Okay, so I hope that you will make some fun upcycled ornaments for your tree or to give to friends. And again, this one would work really well in maybe white and yellow or blue and yellow as a dreidel. You could do star patterns, you could do hearts, you could do little presents, you could do snowmen. You can really take the same idea and make so many different shapes and so many variations on these crafts. So if you do that, please make sure that you share them with me. I would love to see that. You can post them on Facebook or on Instagram and just give us the hashtag WarrenLib so we'll see your creations. Okay, short one today. I hope you are enjoying the snowy weather. Please stay safe. I know that we've got quite a nor'easter coming in later on this week. In the meantime, my name is Sandy Roberts. I am the Makerspace coordinator for the Warren County Library System. This is Upcycled Craft Club, and I will be back again at 3 p.m. next Monday with Grinch Crafts. All right, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you again soon.